Welcome back everyone, Toy Shiz here, and we are back yet again with another Batman the Animated Series video, and this time it's from Mezco. It's their Mezco 5 points action figure line. A ton of my friends were saying to me, you haven't gotten those yet? They're amazing. So I picked up the whole first wave, and we're going to be taking a look-see proper, that's for sure. Now, keep in mind, all of these figures come on a singular card back. They're very much Kenner, which is a nice throwback. If you were wondering how tall are these 5 points figures, they are roughly around 3 3/4 inches, but on the smaller side of 3 3/4 inches next to a Kenner 5-inch Batman. You can clearly see, yeah, they're going to be a lot smaller than previous Batman animated offerings. The very first figure in the wave is, of course, Selina Kyle Catwoman, and the Batman the Animated Series graphics very much bring that nostalgia. I get what they are going for, but this is for a certain type of person from a very certain era of a certain time and place. And so I hope a lot of people do remember Batman the Animated Series. It's becoming few and far between. Unfortunately, every time I go back and look at Batman the Animated Series, I get a lot of, wait, what is this now? And it gets me. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe it. All these years and people are forgetting one of the greatest animated series, but it looks like Mezco has really done something special here. Now, the Joker is, of course, the second figure of Wave 1. He comes with his laughing fish and other assorted goodies. We also have Dick Grayson Robin, which is just still to this day the best Robin outfit next to Tim Drake wearing it in the comics. And then the one, the only Batman, Kevin Conroy with Batarang. I'll just save you some time. He's the best one out of the bunch. But with all these figures, Batman and Robin need a Batmobile. And the vehicle for this very first wave is, of course, Batman's main roadster. And it has a lot of form and function that the original Kenner one did. Take note of this photo. I will be bringing it up later. They don't have their capes on, but it's got the pull-out wheel slashers, and they all fit inside the cockpit, kinda. And all the different graphics, of course, Kenner, very, very Kenner. So if you allow me just 2 seconds of your time, I want to talk about nostalgia and retroness and all those good things that remind us of days long past. And Batman the Animated Series, for a lot of us out there, is that perfect breeding ground. But I have to say, the retroness, the nostalgia is quickly running out. I love Batman the Animated Series. And if you're watching, you probably love Batman the Animated Series. But the retro aspect, the whole remember this, is quickly dying. We need new blood. We need new things. Sure, take Batman the Animated Series, but do something brand new with it, because a lot of what you're going to see today relies heavily on, remember when you were a kid? Remember when you were there in the 90s and you went to KB Toys at Target and you bought Batman the Animated Series? And I kid you not, a lot of people watching YouTube right now are going to go, no, I wasn't there for that. I know what Batman the Animated Series is, but I have no idea. So I'm telling you, companies, and not just Mezco, across the board, everybody, don't rely on retro anything anymore going forward in the future, because it's a dying art. It's too much. We've already done it. This is what, the 40th almost anniversary of Batman the Animated Series? There's not many more anniversaries left when you have to go, it's been done to death. It's been done to death. But that being said, you probably are all wondering, where do I get these fancy new action figures? Well, mine came in from Entertainment Earth, and I will tell you all about them because they are having an end-of-the-year sale. You can save up to 40%. There's a lot in stock, and with my links below, you will save an automatic 10% off everything that is in stock. That's the key. It has to be in stock, and if you spend over 39 bucks, you get free shipping as well. When it comes to the Mezco Batman the Animated Series, here's the thing. As of this video, some of which we're talking about are in stock, some are not. But the good news is that when I went to go order mine, they were out of stock, and then the next day they went back into stock. So just tick that little bell that they got going on, and it alerts you, and you can go grab them. Because again, if they are in stock, 10% off, and yeah, I'll save you some time. You're probably gonna dig these if you like B-Task. Now, the second wave of Batman the Animated Series 5 points is already up for pre-order, and I'll tell you, I'm very interested in getting a set for myself, and the vehicle/figure combination this time around will be the Bat Cycle. Remember the old pullback Bat Cycle? Remember? See? Not a lot of people out there are going to go, yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing. There's few of you out there that remember, and some of you don't. So you can experience a whole new level of Batman the Animated Series. So head over to Entertainment Earth now, save up on their end of the year 40% off sale, and they'll probably have sales as we get closer to the new year, just FYI. But save some much needed holiday cashola. Check out Entertainment Earth for all your action figure buying needs. Guarantee you'll find something there that you like. But in the meantime, we have some Batman the Animated Series toys to talk about. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is a look at the entire first wave of the brand new 5 Points Batman the Animated Series line by Mezco Toys. And while I got all you Kenner fanatics here, I just want to say thanks so much for always checking out my YouTube vids. And if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Why? We got old toys, new toys, daily news updates. Guarantee you'll find something here that you like. So now, here is everything out of the packaging. Yes, you have to ruin that really cool, nostalgic packaging, just FYI. But there's a lot of greatness to be seen here. Joker comes with the Joker fish, the laughing fish, and he comes with a knife slash, I'm going to call it a letter opener because Mask of the Phantasm kind of springs forth in my mind for that. Now, the trick here with the Mezco 5 Points is that 5 points of articulation, meaning you get swap out arms with expressive hands, like a pointer finger, and then you have a weapon holding hand. The extra head portraits, which is a nice touch, is Joker with his wide brim fedora. Now that's a nice touch right there. Yes, he did wear just the hat without the trench coat at many times during the animated series. And I will say that for the most part, yes, I like the open mouth. That's the Joker. Every single figure comes with a clear plastic stand, which is a nice touch, but do keep in mind they all stand really nicely on their own. Just the clear plastic stand adds a little bit more chutzpah to it. And with the Joker himself in the face portrait, I will say that it's there and it's not. I think the nose is off just a little bit, and they're definitely going more for the Kenner into Batman the Animated Series as opposed to Batman the Animated Series becoming toys. They're very much the old Kenners now brought to life in this smaller scale. But from the sides, I think that that's definitely a Joker. I like the green in the hair. That's a nice touch. It's just that Bruce Timm style. One little line, one little sculpt that's off, it doesn't translate perfectly, right? It's very much a fine line, but I love the suits, the nuances of the folds, his coattails, everything looks good. And for those of you that don't know, 5 points meaning 5 points of articulation, head, arms, and legs. And that's the cool part, is that, yes, you get to swap the arms and the head portraits, and I rather like that. It makes these fun in a very different way. You're not here completely talking about articulation. Everything moves that it should, but it's fun to swap out the parts and pieces and change up the looks without having all that, oh man, the arms don't bend this way or do that. It's limited, but it's limited on purpose. And for that, yes, the Joker is definitely a fun one to have. Moving on to Catwoman. Catwoman is going to come with her whip. It's very stylized. It has the little flageolets on that end. It's a wild whippin' whip, and one definitely befitting of a character like Catwoman. She also comes with her cat Isis and some jewelry, which the cat can wrap around her neck and stay on her shoulders, and the jewelry is just a nice wink and a nod to her first appearance episode. The arms are then, of course, some cat scratching hands, and then you have the wild whip holding hands. You also get an unmasked Selena Kyle, of which, yeah, that definitely happened many times, like cat scratch fever. The yellow for the blonde hair is perfect. It looks good amidst her green eyes, and the red on her lips, perfectly painted. That is Selena Kyle from Batman the Animated Series. And again, you get the stand and a very cool looking Catwoman, one that in the articulation definitely reminds me of the old Kenner figure. And again, very basic 5 POA articulation. That's what they're going for. That is what the whole idea is behind these. But those legs, let's just say this, you won't be fitting her in the Batmobile anytime soon, unfortunately. But for what paint that she needs, she definitely has it. The belt is painted nice. The face is nice as well, but unfortunately on mine, it looks like she fell forward. Not something I did, but her nose is a little bit nicked. Now, swapping out the portraits and the arms is a cinch. Just like the Joker across the board, that's a nice touch. Everything works beautifully. And from the whip to holding the jewelry to having Isis wrapped around her neck, that is a beautiful Catwoman. In fact, I'm going to say Catwoman is honestly one of the standouts from this very first wave. Everything about her, the arms, all of her accessories screams Selina Kyle. Next up, we have Dick Grayson, Robin. Robin comes with his bolo line, the things that he just throws out and ties up bad guys with, which, yes, if you do go back and watch certain episodes, Robin is definitely known to have this. He also comes with a batarang. Batman has one too, but Robin's is a little bit teenier, tinier. You get extra hands, of which those are going to hold the weapons, all with that nice green and skin tone. And then you have a more serious, we'll say, he's going after Tony Zuko kind of head portrait for Dick Grayson. So very well done. Now, the actual figure itself, I like the smiling head. In juxtaposition to Batman, Dick Grayson was always smiling. He was a little bit more easygoing until he moved into the role of Nightwing. But they painted the underside of the cape, the black on the back, the greens, the reds. I'll talk more about the capes in just a second. I do wish that they were cloth over a soft goods vinyl. The arms, they go all the way up. You can get this guy seated in the Batmobile. We'll talk all about that in just a second. He holds the bolo pretty well. I do wish, and this is where a more articulated figure will come in handy, obviously. But getting it to, let's say, a proper position where you would imagine Robin kind of twirling it and throwing it out, it doesn't exactly achieve that, nor can you really do it with the arms presented, but he looks good at least standing there. He does hold the batarang nicely. That's a nice touch. I love seeing Robin with a batarang. These are very simplistic, but I do appreciate that simplicity. And then lastly, we have Batman. And this is the one to have, everyone, I'll tell you. He does come with the grapnel line. It has the grapnel on one end, and then the line just has a lot of movement into it, like he just pushed the button and he's soaring off to a rooftop, of which the extra arms are very nicely done. Weapon holding arms. And then this one, which is a nice touch. And it's, when I talk about McFarlane toys, I like to see a more sculpted in accessory. And that's where you take the grapnel line and you can insert it into the grapnel, and boom, you have everything you need. So you have that option of having it with or without. It is just simple. And besides the bat grapnel, you also get a batarang and his gas mask, of which both were seen many times in Batman the Animated Series. A nice little paint on the mask itself. The extra head portrait for Batman is more of a stern, sort of angry face. And again, much like the Joker, this is where you look at it and you go, this is very Kenner. It's Kenner's take. Now it's Mezco's take on the Kenner. There are certain lines, certain little nuances that make it Batman the Animated Series, and it's a little bit off. But I will say this, the more standard head, I think, is a lot more spot on to the Kenner Batman figure. And I like it for that. I totally get what Mezco was going for. You got the blue on the underside of the cape. You have the black on the other side. I'm wondering, and I'll run it by you guys, what do you think about shading on the gloves and on the boots and on the mask to have some of that blue? I would have liked to have seen that, but done in a good way. The cape is a soft vinyl. That's where it'll be kind of cumbersome when you start to fit him in the Batmobile. It's not a total deal breaker, but again, like I said, having the option of a cloth cape would have been cool because these capes are not removable. They are stuck on there. It does not come off, just FYI. The arms, the batarangs, the grapnels, everything that is interswappable on this Batman really brings this character to life. Because remember, the old Kenner Batman, the Animated Series, were 5 points of articulation, but you couldn't bend the elbows. But that's where, instead of having joints, it just looks cool, and the gas mask really works, and I'll tell you, it works best with the more normal head as opposed to the angry head. It just slips on a whole heck of a lot better. But seeing this mask on Batman, I cannot wait to have a Scarecrow in the 5 points line, hopefully with the bag head and then the more scarier looking bag head. But yes, swapping out the head portraits, swapping out the arms, everything is a cinch. This is a very well done Batman for Batman the Animated Series. But like I said, you gotta have a vehicle. And that is where they've gone back to the Kenner and they've made the actual Batman the Animated Series Batmobile in blue. But now it's more of the adult collector, and I totally appreciate it for that. You will have the wheels, all four will spin, and on top of having all four wheels that spin, which is nice, you can pull out the rotor blades that you would see in a few episodes when trying to stop a car, the Joker mobile, something like that. Now, they are a little bit difficult to initially pull out. Mine were a little bit stuck, but once you get them going, just be careful. You can push them in, push them out at ease. But I'll tell you, in just looking at the Batmobile, taking it out of the packaging and going, man, that is just freaking cool. From the front, the very stylistic front, to the sides, everything is there. All the angles, the back, the thrusters, the giant fire cannon, right? When the whole episode starts. And thank you, Mezco Toys. You actually made that effect. That is one of the most poignant parts of the opening of Batman the Animated Series, and you did it. And it simply just fits right into the blast hole, right? As you could say. You got the engines, you got the red taillights. It completes the look for this Batmobile. Thank you for putting that on there. Now, to help some of you out, because I definitely needed it initially, there are instructions in the box, but for the canopy, you simply just kind of pinch on one side and slowly pull it forward, and that's really it. It's a little bit stuck, again, at first, but once you get it going, it's cool. You can see inside. It's a two-seater this time around. The Kenner one was not. You have the steering wheel, which actually steers. It doesn't move the tires, though. You have the stick shift. You have the computer system. It just is really cool. Well done. And you get to see the seats on the other side. There are no seat belts in this Batmobile, just FYI. But again, in totality, that is really cool. The underside will leave nothing to the imagination. It is completely stark. But like I said, all four wheels move. That's something you got to reassure people of these days, and it moves really fluidly. Batman, when putting him in the Batmobile, here's the one hiccup. Now, I had to do it a few times, and at first I thought, well, how do you get this in? Now, the instructions will tell you to seat them just like this, and you kind of pinch the cape a little bit. You got to deal with all these cape corners. That's part of the, man. But once you learn it, and every single time will be different when putting your Batman in. Sometimes it works perfectly, and sometimes it don't. But luckily, on camera, I got it. It worked great this time around. I had it the other way where I was kind of like shoving the Batman in there, just FYI. But you got to find that sweet spot, and you will, because he just looks great. The other thing, though, is that he only comes with one open hand to then, you could say, technically drive. So that's kind of an oversight. I wish you gave him two steering wheel hands. You know what I'm saying there? Robin is a lot more manageable. We'll say that. He just goes right in. He's a lot smaller. And that's just really cool to have Batman and Robin driving the Batmobile. And when you're ready, you close up the canopy, easy peasy, and it just looks good. Well done, Mezco Toys. Don't forget the thrust, and boom, you are off to stop the Joker and or Catwoman's nefarious deeds amidst Gotham City. Now, just to talk more about that nostalgia, we have the original Kenner Batman the Animated Series Batmobile, and now this new Mezco one. The Kenner one is a lot longer than this Mezco, and, well, the Mezco is now a two-seater. This one was great for its day and age. It was kind of hard to fit the Batman in there, but it's a nice upgrade, and it's totally cool to see these two side by side one another. And for those of you wondering, here's the scale. These are through and through the Mezco 5 points, 3 3/4 inch figures as opposed to Kenner. For those of you wondering, maybe I just get the Batmobile for my Kenner Batman. It's not going to work. You'll never fit him, and it's entirely too small in correlation to this Batman. But I will tell you this. I had an absolute blast looking at these. I think that these are very unique, very much a retro throwback, and I love the simplicity. For those of you that don't have a lot of space, but that want a Batman the Animated Series collection, look no further. You have it. It's right here. They are a little bit on the higher price point, but these are a collector's item. These are not for kiddos. Leave them in the packaging, take them out, have fun, put them on display. The simplicity is key, and the space of which these take up is very small. So you can have room for more if you choose to continue on with this Mezco 5 points BTAS collection. So you've heard my thoughts, and now I'm curious to know yours. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Batman, the Animated Series. And I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most important, remember, in case I don't talk with you, happy holidays. and I'm taking a few days off. So we'll be back very, very shortly, not to worry, with a lot more to talk about. And when I do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.